Hey, it is Lily, and in this video we'll be looking at my currently inked pens that I had for April 2024. First up, I had a Midori MD paper 70th anniversary limited edition pen. I didn't use it up, but there is still a little bit left. I used the majority of it, and I purchased this new off Facebook Marketplace. It was still in the box. Really cool nib as well. It's a little bit curved, a lightweight pen, and I gave this a C+, so I think it is above average. Overall, I do find that the ink, which is Pilot Iroshizuku's Murasaki Shikubu, so the purple is a little bit light. It has some shading, which is lovely, but I do need something more saturated for work. That's all, but overall a really nice color, and I enjoyed having a purple pen inked up. So I actually filmed this a few days ago, and I still have this pen inked, but it's running low, and out of all of the pens that I'm talking about today, I only have 2 pens with ink left, so all the rest are actually currently dry as of this voiceover. And here is the writing sample of the Midori MD paper pen with the purple Pilot Iroshizuku. There's some shading, as you can see there from the ink pools, and yeah, quite lovely. Next up, we have Pens by Casey Blue Purple. This is in a fine steel nib, and it is inked up with Robert Oster, the collaboration with Pulp Addiction, Blue Addiction. I gave this an A+, and it's not dry as of the filming, but as of me future talking, it is dried. I've actually cleaned it up, and it's drying on a little tea towel at the moment. So I believe it's a great combo. I really enjoyed it and would totally ink it again. Totally up my alley. No fuss, smooth writer. The fine nib was a pleasure to use, and the ink was just super saturated, and I really enjoyed it. I am so tempted to buy more like bespoke or handmade pens, particularly by Just Turnings, but I just can't justify it, and I already have 2, so I have this one and the red one that you'll see in a little bit as well. And I'm trying to just be like, hey, you know, 2's enough. I got these for a really great deal, pre-loved, so I think it'll do me for now. Next up, we have my Waterman Expert. It is in a fine 18 karat gold nib. It has Colorverse SM1 in it. I completely wrote this one dry, but I'm giving it an A-. As you'll see, I'll put a minus there soon. So I liked it a lot. There was some shading on Midori paper, also some sheen as well, and it was very saturated on copy paper. So the reason why I gave it an an A- is because with the Midori paper, which you will see in a little bit, as I have a writing sample coming up, there was some shading, which is lovely, but not particularly something that I need. On copy paper though, there was no characteristics at all, which I actually enjoyed more. So yeah, there's that. I know some papers do make certain properties shine a little bit more, particularly if they're fountain pen friendly. That's a mouthful. So here you go, the writing sample, and also some ink pools as well. And next up, we have my Navalur collaboration with Cult Pens in Azure Sea. It is a broad steel nib inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Amairo, and I completely wrote this one dry. I gave it an A. Wait, what did I do? A- again, and I gave it A- the week before. So I wrote A because I was like, oh, I really liked it. I don't have this ink anymore, and I'm so tempted to, you know, buy a bottle. But I need to control myself. I think it was a great combo. I liked it a lot. Beautiful pen and a very wet ink as well. It was just beautiful. A smooth writer, and I just loved the writing experience. I'm totally into broad nibs for that reason, because they write so well. And yeah, next up we have another Navalur pen. This time the collaboration is with Galen Leather. It is the Rose Gold Demo, also a broad steel nib, and it is inked up with Robert Oster, Romeo and Juliet. So I still have this pen inked up. I haven't written it dry yet. There's a little bit left. And yeah, I really enjoyed it actually. A lot more than I thought I would. I think it is a great unique color. Reminds me a little bit of Diamond, like Celadon cat. Like, I've seen that around. I don't have it, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks great. It looks very similar. I gave this a C-, and yeah, I think it was really good. It was definitely a lot more enjoyable than I thought. Very legible. And you'll see soon in the writing sample what I mean. So much shading. I am definitely warming up to shading at the moment. Didn't think I would say that, but it actually looks really nice. Like, do you think? Like a grey kind of blue color, and with the ink pools there's a little bit of purple, bit of grey, bit of blue. Yeah. Next up we have my Pilot Cocooner Clear in a medium steel nib, inked up with Robert Oster, Sydney Darling Harbour. And as of this voiceover, this pen is cleaned and drying on a towel somewhere, but at the time of writing I still had some ink left. I thought it was a very murky looking color. Great pen, of course. Overall I felt it was okay. So for me, I do think it was a great pen, okay ink, a very wet ink as well. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I did try this in a medium nib and took it out and put it straight in this one just because it was just too wet for my preferences. But yeah, overall, interesting looking pen and ink combo. I gave it a C, and you will see the writing sample coming up in a little bit. So as you can see from the video as well, I used a Con 70 converter, and that one has quite a large capacity, so it was quite a decent amount of ink, which I do like. And the writing sample. Next up we have my Waterman Expert, and this is in a medium steel nib. It is the Expert that has a metallic black lacquer with the rhodium trim. It was inked up with Robert Oster Green Diamond. I wrote this dry. I do believe it was a great bright green. You'll see the writing sample coming up in a bit. I enjoyed using it. There was some shading. Overall, it was an average ink and pen combo for me, but yeah, it was fine. Not much to say about it. A bright green that has some shading. Yeah, so there's the pen, looking very sleek. I was so into like just black pens at the beginning of my pen journey, so this was one of them. Here is the ink writing sample, the ink pool there. I accidentally started writing with the wrong pen. I was like, oh, whoops, wrong pen. But yeah, you can see there quite a lot of shading there as well. And yeah, quite beautiful. If you love greens, this one might be for you. Next up we have Navalur Narwhal, the original plus spring in a fine steel nib. So this pen I've also written dry, but as of the video, as you can see, there's still some ink left. So it is a green-black color in a green pen. I thought I'd go matchy-matchy. Overall, very legible, cool-looking pen. I did find the ink a little bit dry. It was an average combo. Yeah, overall, I think it was average. I was not in love with it. I do like the green trimming on this pen, but I do find that for a piston filler, like, is it just me, or do I don't know, I think it's wasted on a fine nib. Like, this should have a medium or broad to really, you know, have a lot of ink, I guess. But I don't know, I do find that I like my Eco more than this. I have an Eco in a fine nib, and I found that smoother than this one, but it could just be the ink as well. here is the writing sample. Yeah, nice, legible. Next up, we have Parker, and this is the Parker IM in a fine steel nib. It was inked up with Diamond Syrah, Syrah, and I wrote this dry. I gave it a C, so average. It was a great red color, reliable pen, no issues. The ink also felt a bit dry as well, but I do like the color, and I'm glad I used red. I don't get a chance to use red often. Not that I can't use it. I did find it really nice to like write in my calendar and things like that in red for particular things. I also wrote notes with it. So yeah, overall great color, and I think the pen is a no-nonsense pen. So yeah, we have a writing sample coming up for this as well. So here it is. As you can see, we've got the ink pool things there, some shading as well. Yeah, I'm not in love, but I don't not like it. So overall, just quite average there. So yeah, nice combo. And then we have this Pens by Casey red blue resin in a fine steel nib. It was inked up with Warrigal, Pride and Prejudice, and I was so disappointed because as I was trying to use this, ink kept spilling out. So I think there was something wrong with the converter at that time. I have used this before with no issues, so I don't think it is the pen. But yeah, I tried to clean it up and I tried to like wash the nib and stuff, but there was just red everywhere, and that day I just had red on my hands. It was so bad. So I wasn't really able to use this pen and ink combo. So for the grading, it's not applicable, but the pen is dry just because no matter what, it just would leak and get all over my hands. So yeah, quite sad about that one. Second last, we have my palette Kakuno. This is the Family Series Girl Pink. It is in a medium steel nib, and it was inked up with Diamond Deep Magenta. So this pen I used dry. It had a Con 70 converter, which I ink syringed. So yeah, to the full capacity there. I reluctantly fell in love with this color, and I just really loved it. I think it was just saturated, it was different, it was cheery as well, and even after I finished using like the whole Con 70 converter, I wanted more. So A+ for this pen and ink combo. It was great, loved it. Yeah, so I'm trying to stop myself from inking this up again because I do need to try other pinks. I have Diamond Claret, which I think is very similar, so maybe I don't need both, but I think I need to ink that one up and see how I feel about that one as well. So there's the ink sample pool thing there, and the writing sample as well. But yeah, I did not think I would fall in love with that. Last of all, we have my TWSBI Diamond 580 RBT. This was in a broad steel nib, Robert Oster Sushi. So I no longer have this pen, but I do love how the pen wrote. No issues with that. I just have other Diamond 580s. That's all. And I gave it a C for the pen and ink combo. Overall, I enjoyed using it the longer that I had it around. I found it really helpful to write my calendar and things like that in a pen that was different and bright, so it stood out. But yeah, actually quite legible and a very cheery color as well. So here's the writing sample on Midori paper, the grid notebook, and yeah, a salmon-y color, just a really nice spring shade. So that is it, my 12 pen and ink combos for April 2024. Thank you so much for watching. Did you have any favorites out of the ones I inked up? How many pens do you have inked up each month, or is it like a rotating thing? So that is it. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!